How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. You saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience riding and reviewing my friend's leader bike as a beginner motorcycle rider. Today we're specifically going to be talking about the 2008 Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10R that I recently had on my channel, I believe like last month. If you want to, watch the full review and everything that I did on the bike, I'll leave the link on top of the video right now. But in that video, I kind of go over like the actual specs of the bike, what's specific to that Kawasaki and all that stuff. But I have to be honest with you guys, and I said this in the review too, I'm definitely more of a beginner rider. I just got my motorcycle endorsement last summer in July of 2021. And since then, I've been on a mini bike, I've been on a DRZ, I've been on multiple different cruisers and a naked bike, and then this was actually the very first time that I had a sport bike experience. So I completely skipped right over like a 500cc or 600cc and went right to a big boy with this 1000cc bike. Now I have to say I've definitely driven some sketchy cars on the channel. Probably the fastest car that I've ever driven is that 1300 horsepower Nissan GTR that I did do last year. But I've never been really scared to do a review to the extent of basically before getting on this bike. I even told my friend, like, he kind of like let me borrow it for the day, and I was on it for like 2 to 3 hours throughout like the entire day. But I have to say, like, I was extremely scared and nervous to actually ride this bike. I am confident in my motorcycle riding skills, but it was just like that 1000cc number. I let that kind of take too much focus out of me, and I have to say they're a lot safer than you think they are. They're practically about as safe as you are as the rider yourself. If you're gonna go full on balls to the wall with it, yeah, then they're gonna be pretty dangerous, and if you don't have experience, that's probably not a smart thing to do. However, if you're kind of riding the clutch when you're taking off and you're using half throttle and you're not really going super into it, don't expect it to be completely uncontrollable. It honestly was a very balanced machine. It braked extremely well. There was good tires on it, and the engine performed extremely well. Now obviously that's not like that for all leader bikes, and his bike specifically was used and it was a little banged up on the body and stuff. But for the most part, mechanically, it was extremely sound. Now, with it being the very first kind of sport bike that I did a review on the channel, it was pretty uncomfortable. I don't think that being a leader bike makes it specifically more uncomfortable than other sport bikes. However, it does have thinner cushions on the seat. I know that for sure. It has different pegs. So again, leader bikes are extremely focused on performance. So when it comes to any sort of comfort or anything like that, you can completely throw that out of the window. I'm 22 years old, so it's kind of fine for me. But if you're in like your late 20s, maybe mid 30s, or even older than that, and you have any sort of issues, maybe it's not going to be the most comfortable experience for you. I know that I have kind of bad hips growing up playing hockey as a goalie, and about like an hour and a half to 2 hours into the ride, I actually, like, my right hip completely cramped up on me because I'm crouched in this position for such a long period of time. Plus it was a hot day, and I probably didn't have a lot of or enough water in my system that I should have, because I was sweating bullets the entire time. I really tried my hardest not to panic, and I literally was at one point kind of had my right leg off the bike, kicking it out just to get some blood flow back in. But it was a pretty like bad cramp, and it was kind of sketchy, and I'm definitely not one to just kind of bitch and complain about something as silly as a cramp. However, when you're going down the road at even like 40 miles per hour on a motorcycle and something happens to you physically or bad, it could get a little sketchy for sure. Now, moving back to the overall performance and handling of the bike, I was very surprised that it didn't really have an incredible and unrealistic amount of low-end torque to be able to control. It was incredibly controllable at lower RPMs, and taking off was honestly a breeze with it. The clutch is good in that bike. A lot of things, again, are mechanically sound, so I can't speak for used bikes out there that have been absolutely beat up. But his bike, it was extremely mechanically sound, and taking off was a breeze. braking was a breeze. Where the real power shined, and it kind of almost bit me in the ass, because I got on the highway with it and I started to like rev it out a little bit, and then next thing you know, I looked down and I was going a speed that I'm not going to say on video because I don't want to incriminate myself. But a lot of these leader bikes, the big thing that kind of separates them from the lower CC sport bikes is that they make an incredible amount of power on their high-end horsepower. You know, a lot of people talk about horsepower, torque. Horsepower is more like your high end. Torque is like your low end. The torque on this specific leader bike wasn't too bad. I thought it was going to be way too much, and I was going to whiskey throttle it, and you know, the bike's going to go this way, my body's going to go this way, and it was just not going to be a good day. And that's one of the things that, again, I was the most nervous about before actually getting on this ZX-10R. But honestly, the torque was really not that bad. A lot of its power is high end, and again, as long as you don't really like lay into the throttle, you're really not going to see that much of that power. And that is a perfect transition into kind of my final point for today's video. And a 600cc day-to-day would probably honestly be a better option than this leader bike. Again, I'm not hating on the leader bikes or whatever, but I'd have to say in like 95% of day-to-day daily driving scenarios, there's really no difference. I'm sure that a lot of like 600 or 750 or 500cc bikes are almost as fast as leader bikes in like just regular normal traffic. Where the leader bike again really shines is in those top speed numbers, where the leader bikes can go over 200 miles per hour and maybe the 600cc's top out at like 170 or 160 or 180. Again, the difference is very slim, and unless you're like an expert rider, I honestly would suggest going for a 600cc because they are probably just as fun, and they're definitely cheaper to buy and cheaper to maintain. After I wound up doing this review, I was just, you know, curious and like looking online and started to kind of window shop around the internet for 600cc sport bikes, 500cc sport bikes, and even leader sport bikes. And honestly, the difference when it comes to money, it could be a little bit silly at times. And again, the leader bikes have such a good reputation that precedes them that so many people are willing to pay those extra big bucks for it. But honestly, as a beginner rider, I would suggest that if any of you guys are interested in riding one, as long as you're confident in yourself, or even if you're not extremely confident in yourself, like my case scenario, I would say still go out there and do it, get your feet wet. Don't endanger yourself, obviously, but it's really not that big and bad of a wolf as it seems to be. I was very like afraid to get on it at first, and once I got on it, I was just extremely comfortable. Again, being a sport bike, I was kind of like leaned over. It was something that I kind of had to get used to. I took a couple laps around my friend's neighborhood to get used to that before actually taking the bike out. But yeah, it was really not that bad. It was a very enjoyable experience for me. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below if you guys have ever ridden a leader bike yourselves, and also let me know what you guys think of the idea of a beginner rider actually going ahead and trying to ride a leader bike. There's plenty of videos out there on the internet of people voicing their opinions, and some people say, oh, you should definitely not do that, it's super unsafe. And there's other people that are kind of saying the same thing that I'm saying, and it's really not that bad. Again, as long as you have common sense, you ride defensively, you ride safely, you really should not have that much of a problem. But that's pretty much just gonna be it for me today. Definitely be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff down below. If you're already subscribed to the channel, click that little bell icon down there to turn on post notifications and get notified every single time that I do post a new video. It really does help me out a ton as a smaller YouTuber. But like always, thank you guys so much for all the continued support. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. If you enjoyed today's video, click on either of these links right here to watch a similar video from this channel, or click on the little circle link right there to actually subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. I do appreciate all the support, but thank you for sticking to the end of this video, and I hope you have a fantastic day.